Chris Godinez, licensed professional therapist. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. I am the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, Arizona Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I am proud to be sponsored by BetterHelp, BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an international online therapy company. If you need a therapist, go on to BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Fill out some questions and they will set you up with a licensed master's level or PhD level therapist here in the United States. Or if you're here in the US and you don't like your therapist and you want to find a new one, go to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez, fill out some questions, and they'll set you up with a licensed therapist in your state. All right, boom. Let's get to the questions. There were a whole bunch of questions that I didn't get to answer this last time. Okay, so the last show we were talking about dissociative disorder, and I was talking about what was that movie with Lady Gaga? It was about the Gucci killings. So anyway, do you think Lady Gaga did a good job? Yes, I do. I think Lady Gaga did a great job. I have heard that people have been criticizing her over her Italian accent, but I'm not Italian, so it sounded fine to me. Everybody sounded fine to me. So, but I would suppose if you are Italian and that wasn't right on, you'd be a little upset. But I thought she did great. I mean, honestly, it's like I stopped thinking of her as Lady Gaga about after the first minute, so she did a great job. I liked that movie. I thought it was really well done. Can I ask your opinion on OSDD1? Okay. OSDD1 is other specified dissociative disorder. So OSDD1 is the subtype that is the most similar to dissociative identity disorder. It is used for individuals who have similar symptoms to those with DID, but who do not meet the full criteria. And that's the problem. When you're dealing with the DSM-5, you've got to meet the full criteria in order to get a diagnosis of DID, dissociative identity disorder. And if it doesn't meet the full criteria, then it gets shoved under OSDD1. So it's a medical thing. I'm not crazy about the DSM-5, to be perfectly honest, because too many people fall through the cracks. And so I'm not quite sure what your question is, but if you could get a little bit more specific, that would be good, because that's where people get that diagnosis if they don't meet the full criteria for DID. So not sure what else I can tell you about that. So do I think it's great? No, not necessarily. So again, I think the DSM-5 is going to start moving towards more of a spectrum kind of thing, because everything is on a spectrum. Everything is on a spectrum. It truly is. It's like down here traits of, down here full blown, so I think they're going to start moving towards that. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, so I hope that answered your question. If you have another question about it, do let me know. So, how do you snap yourself out of avoiding things when you notice you are avoiding? I notice when I avoid things, but it's hard to stop avoiding it and just go to it. Well, it's going to take help. It really is. It's going to take help. So either a friend, a trusted family member, a therapist, somebody is going to have to help you break that habit of, no, that's okay, I'll just stay home. Seriously, it is very difficult to do, but not impossible. So it does take help. It does take somebody kind of giving you encouragement. That's what a good therapist does, is gives encouragement. You can do this. You can, it's okay. Go for a limited amount of time. You're not going to go and stay for 4 hours the first time out. Trust me. It's like, you're going to go and you'll stay for a half an hour or maybe 20 minutes. And then you'll go back home and, and process. And, it's a journey, and it does take a village. It does. It takes having support. So it's hard to do it if you're trying to do it all by yourself. So if you're doing it all by yourself, you're going to talk yourself out of it. That's just the nature of the beast. We talk ourselves out of things, especially if we're terrified. So, oh yeah, I don't need to go to that party. I have laundry to do. Yeah. We'll talk ourselves out of it. So it's really good to enlist support. So a support group, trusted family, trusted friends, get with a good therapist, and that will help encourage you, give you courage to go break out of the avoidance thing and go live your life. So yeah, get with a good trauma therapist. It's based in trauma. Okay. Please talk about emotional flashbacks. Sometimes there's emotional fear without a flashback. Yeah, absolutely. So I think flashbacks is a misnomer. Sometimes it does play like a whole movie. Other times it's a feeling. It's this fear response, or this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, or, whatever. So emotional flashbacks are when we are having something has triggered us and we're having a response to it as if it were happening here and now. So remember the amygdala. The amygdala is stupid. This is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn center. So when the amygdala perceives a threat, it tells the hippocampus, hypothalamus, oh my gosh, we're in danger. We need cortisol. So then cortisol gets released. We get tensed up because we're getting ready to fight, flight, run away, freeze, so that the predator walks on by and doesn't see us, or fawn, give in to the predator so that we don't get killed. So when we are triggered, all of this happens like within nanoseconds, And so now, okay, so the cortisol is going, we're tense, we're taking puffy little breaths, not anything going anywhere, racing thoughts, pounding heart. And that tells another part of the brain, now that the oxygen CO2 is all wonkified, it tells another part of the brain, oh my gosh, we need more energy to get out of here. So it tells the adrenal gland that sits on top of the kidneys to release everything at once. So now we're shaking like a leaf, racing thoughts, pounding heart, puffy little breaths. And at this point, we usually go into either a panic attack or we go into a rage attack. So fear would be panic. So yeah, so a flashback is not necessarily, it's playing before your eyes like a movie. Now, it can in some cases. Some people do have full-blown, they are watching it happen right in front of them, like a movie kind of thing. Other people, it's just that panic, that fear, that, that kind of thing. So the best thing to do is as soon as you recognize that you are having that fear response, breathe. Huge deep breath. Hold it. Let it out as slowly as you can. And as you do that, I'm safe. I'm okay. Nothing's going to hurt me. I'm all right. Everything's fine. So that's really important to self-soothe while you're breathing. As soon as the oxygen CO2 starts getting back into regulation, then the adrenal gland stops pumping out adrenaline and everything starts calming down. So breathing really is the key, whether it's a visual flashback, an emotional flashback, a physical flashback. We can have those too. Somatic. Yeah. The body keeps score. Bessel van de Kolk. It's like we can have, the body remembers, our brains remember, our muscle memory, we can have all kinds of flashbacks. So breathing is the key. So breathe. That is the most important thing to do. Please talk about, okay, I did that. Is disconnection daydreaming. I used to plan how I would run away. Seemed like I was in a zone when I would go there in my brain. I would go there a lot. Well, it can be. So you can have dysfunctional daydreaming. So in other words, daydreaming is where you're just not in reality ever and you're just in your head daydreaming, right? That's not living in the moment. Now, when I was a kid living in my crazy family's, grip, I daydreamed a lot because it was an escape and it was safe because they didn't know about it. I'm up here in my head and I'm on the beach, So, but it is a way to avoid, and it is a way to not be in the moment. So it would be a really good idea to just kind of watch that. If you're doing it and you're not in the moment and you're not socializing and you're not, that would be bad. But if you did it while you were in the abusive situation and, that's what a lot of us do. A lot of us would just daydream because that was an escape. That was a way to get away from the crazy, away from the yelling, away from the screaming, away from the hitting, away from the, whatever. So it depends on how it's being used, whether it's adaptive or maladaptive. Does that make sense? If it's impacting your current life, then it would be maladaptive. If it was, just like a pleasant little daydream and okay, now I'm back to reality and it doesn't impact your day-to-day life, then it's okay. So, okay. If you let people in, but keep them at a distance, is that avoidance? Yes, it is. So here's the deal. Intimacy is what we are afraid of, because when we allowed ourselves to be intimate, either with family or friends or an ex-lover, and they abused that, then we learned very quickly to keep people at arm's length so they couldn't hurt us again. But the problem of it is they're at arm's length, and so you're not really having real intimacy, emotional intimacy. So, keeping people at arm's length, that's not good. If you're going to let people in, make sure they're worthy of being let in, and then let them in and be intimate emotionally. I don't mean physically. I mean, unless they're your romantic partner, but it's like allow yourself to be a full human being, but that also requires trusting your gut. So keeping people at arm's length says to me that you still have some work to do with trusting your gut. And if somebody is giving you a reason to keep them at arm's length, keep them at arm's length. But if you trust them, bring them in. So, and that's a hard one. All of us survivors have got trust issues. That is just comes with the territory. So it's a matter of learning to trust your gut. Don't listen to your head. Don't listen to your heart. These two guys tell stories. The gut is a simple yes or no answer to a yes or no question. So that's what you want to go with. So yeah, it is a way of staying distant. It's a way of not being intimate. Absolutely. Could you or have you done a show on overcoming addiction to a toxic person? I've done one, but it's been a while. So let me make a note of that and we'll put that in the list because I have a whole bunch of things that people want me to do. So, and it is addictive. It absolutely is addictive. So I think that's going to be an entire hour-long show because yeah, sure. Okay. Let me put it in the list. Keep reminding me though. If it doesn't happen in the next month, remind me. Okay. All right. So there that is. Is dissociation like the freeze response? Kind of, but not really. So in the freeze response, fight is wanting to fight. Flight is running away. Freezing is you just don't know what to say. Like you just don't know what to say because it's like nothing safe is going to come out of your mouth. It's like no matter what you say, you're going to get in trouble. So that's freeze, right? Dissociation is where the lights are on, the engine is running, and you have gone completely bye-bye. So it's not like freeze. Freeze is kind of like it, but not really. Because when you're freezing, you know it. When you're frozen, you're just like, it's like, you're just like, I can't do anything, But dissociating is like, light is on, engine is running, nobody is home. Whoop. And that's where the abuse amnesia usually comes in for the victim. So like abuse is going on and the person just goes, whew, see ya, can't cope, So it's different. It's similar, but it's different. So when somebody freezes, that was their safe response to danger. So think about it. Bunny rabbits, okay? I don't know if you guys have ever been around bunny rabbits, but when bunny rabbits out in the wild, because we've got a ton of little cottontails around here. So when a cottontail sees danger, instead of fighting or running, they just freeze. They just absolutely go absolutely motionless and hope that the predator doesn't see them and walks right on by. So it's a response to danger. So if your primary response, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, is to freeze, that probably served you really well when you were a kid. For me, fighting and fleeing is what served me well. you know? So if it served you well, that's probably going to be your go-to response to danger as an adult. So dissociation, though, is where it happens and the person is just gone. Lights are on, engine is running. Nobody is home. When you're freezing, you know you're freezing. Does that make sense? So I hope that explains it. Okay. My daughter, 19-year-old, has borderline traits and is in therapy. She says she feels responsible for my happiness and that I am never happy. Her dad is often making me upset. He's a narcissist. What do I say to her? Oh my God. Okay. She is not responsible for your happiness. That is codependent. So codependency is where we feel we are responsible for a caregiver's happiness, emotional state. So the best thing to do is encourage her to work on codependency. Seriously. She is not responsible for your emotions. You are not responsible for her emotions. You're not responsible for anybody's emotions except your own. So The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, that is a great book. So yeah, it's just Self-Esteem Workbook, Glenn Schiraldi, Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, Codependent No More, Beyond Codependent No More, both by Melanie Beattie. There's another one by PM Melody that's on codependency. She is not responsible for your emotions. If you are unhappy, that is your job to make yourself happy. Happiness is an inside job. This is where codependency gets going, is because kids feel like they have to make sure the parents are okay. Nope. It's not her job. She needs to resign. So thank God she's with a therapist. I strongly suggest that you encourage her to work on boundaries. Boundaries, and that it is not her job to make you or your spouse happy at all. It's her job to make herself happy. And if you are unhappy, it is not because of her. And you got to let her know that, because kids do feel responsible for the parents' emotions. They just do, because kids are very egocentric, meaning, oh my gosh, it's my fault. Oh my gosh, I have to take care of this. No, not her job. Let her know it's not her job and encourage her to work on codependency. Absolutely. Okay. How do I stop thinking about a person I've never been in relationship with? Sometimes I feel I'm getting high off of fantasy to self-soothe. Yes, that is what we do. So remember, the brain, the amygdala, is stupid. It can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy sometimes. So when we are fantasizing about something, so let's say you're having a fantasy that you're a spy and you're doing your spy thing and it's getting really dangerous. Well, all of a sudden, your body is going to start responding as if you were in that danger. Excuse me. So our bodies respond whether it's a fantasy or whether it's reality. Now, if we are fantasizing about a person, that is releasing all of the serotonin, dopamines, norepinephrines, et cetera, the feel-good chemicals. So yeah, you're jacking up your feel-good chemicals by having these fantasies and self-soothing. But if this is a person you're never going to have a relationship with and it's harming you, or it's causing you to be unhappy or whatever, and you realize that you're relying on these fantasies in order to feel good, that would be a time to go seek out a counselor. It really would. So, yes, it's hang on a second. Yeah, we do get high off of fantasies. Absolutely. Because the brain can't tell the difference. And so it released the endorphins, the dopamine, serotonins. It's just like, okay, so for example, I have a huge crush on Gerard Butler. Sometimes I will have a fantasy about Gerard Butler and it feels great because it's releasing all those endorphins, dopamine, serotonins, et cetera. I know I am never, ever going to get with Gerard Butler because number one, I'm married. Number two, I'm never going to meet this man. Number three, I'm never going to meet this man. So, so it's not something I rely on. So if you're relying on something like that to self-soothe and make yourself feel better, then it's time to go see a therapist and start working on why. What's going on or what's not going on in your life? What are you missing? What do you need? And it's not from another person. So if you're looking at this other person that you're never going to have a relationship with and you're having fantasies about it and you're feeling good about yourself, and then you come back to reality, that says to me you need to work on self-esteem. Self-esteem, self-esteem, self-esteem. Get with a good therapist and start working on your own self-esteem, because happiness is an inside job. Okay. Are narcissists the same as schizoid personality disorder? No, they are not. That is something completely different. Let me look that up. Schizoid personality disorder. Okay, here we go. Schizoid personality disorder, and this is from the Mayo Clinic, is an uncommon condition in which people avoid social activities and consistently shy away from interactions with others. They have a limited range of emotional expression. Prefer being alone and choose to do activities alone. Don't want or enjoy close relationships. Feel little, if any, desire for sexual relationships. Feel like they can't experience pleasure. Have difficulty expressing emotions and reacting appropriately to situations. May seem humorless, indifferent, or emotionally cold to others. May appear to lack motivation and goals. Don't react to praise or critical remarks from others. So yeah, totally different, because narcissistic personality disorder, Mayo Clinic, hang on, Mayo. All right, there we go. Narcissistic personality disorder. One of several types of personality disorders is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind the mask of the extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. They have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, a sense of entitlement, requires constant, excessive admiration, expects to be recognized as superior without achievements that warrant it, exaggerate achievements and talents, is preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate, believe they are superior and can only associate with equally special people, monopolize conversations and belittle or look down on people as they perceive as inferior, expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations, take advantage of others to get what they want, have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others, be envious of others and believe others that are envious of them, behave in an arrogant, haughty manner, coming across as conceited, boastful, and pretentious, and insist on having the best of everything. The best car, the best office, the best coffee, the best whatever. So, two totally different diagnoses. Okay, let's get back over to the questions. How to respond to a narcissist who says you deserved their abuse. You go no contact and you never speak to them again. That's the best way to respond. They are looking for a fight. So narcissists live off of narcissistic supply. Your tears, your anger, your sadness, your hurt, your whatever. So when somebody says, well, you deserved everything I did to you, crickets. You give them crickets. Let them live with that fantasy. That is what the story that they can live with. Let me say that again. Narcissists especially, but people in general, but narcissists especially, tell the story they can live with. So if their story is that you deserve the abuse, let them have that story. You're not going to change their mind. They're crazy. You get on with your life. Go, no contact. You don't even respond. That is not even worthy of a response. That is so far out of the realm of reality. That is not even worthy of a response. Don't give them a response. Go, no contact. Because a narcissist is looking to continue to inflict harm, and they want you to come back to them and fight them and do whatever, because they need that narcissistic supply. If you just cut them off at the knees, they got nothing. They got nothing. How are we doing on time? Okay, probably one or two more questions. How do I gain back control after damage from a visit? I visited for my little sister an abusive mom. Whoa. I visited my little sister an abusive mom. And then they insulted me saying, honey, the only thing you've grown is your stomach. Now my body image issues are back. Okay. So you are going to do mirror work. You're going to work with a therapist. You're going to undo whatever it is they said. You are beautiful right here, right now. And I would seriously consider not having contact with them or having very limited contact with them. So they're lying to you, hun. They're lying to you. The whole goal of an abuser is to hurt and to harm and to pull the rug out from underneath you. The best thing you can do is work on the body image issues and realize those are your mom's and your little sister's, your mom especially, not yours. She's projecting. She's projecting and she's probably jealous of you. So I would definitely get with a trauma therapist and start working on the body image issues. Put them back on the abuser. Pete Walker, CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving. Work it. Put all of that mistaken thoughts and mistaken beliefs back with the abuser. Does not belong with you. So you're going to have to work through this. But here's the other thing you have to keep in mind. It is extremely difficult to heal or to maintain if you are constantly going back to an abuser. You can do it, but it takes a lot longer. So I would limit your contact with this person if they are going to continue to be nasty McNasty. So yeah, so you may want to consider going no contact. I would definitely get with a good trauma therapist and work on the body image issues because those are hers. Those are not yours. Those are hers. Okay. All right. Are narcissists emotionally dysregulated? Not like borderlines. So narcissists will fly into a rage. And they love to rage because it jacks up the endorphins, the dopamines, the norepinephrines, the serotonins. It makes them feel powerful. So they'll go on this rage. And I mean, it seems like emotional dysregulation, but it's absolutely intentional and it's absolutely planned. They plan it. They do. Whereas with borderline personality disorder, there is emotional dysregulation. Like they really have a hard time managing emotions, whether it's happiness or sadness or anger or anything else. And it is not planned. Totally different. So no, they are not emotionally dysregulated. It is absolutely intentional. They know when they're going to go on a rage. They do. They trap their target into saying or doing something that they know is going to give them an excuse to start raging. Well, did you do the dishes? And if the person says no, they're going to yell at them. If the person says yes, they're going to yell at them. See where I'm going with that? So yeah, no, it is not emotional dysregulation. It is absolutely intentional and it is planned. Can someone on the mild end of borderline or narcissism spectrum dip in and out of their disorder? The borderline, yeah, for sure. The narcissism, probably not. If they're way at the lower end, maybe. But doubtful with the narcissist, but definitely with the borderline if they're way down at the lower end. Is it okay to write my FU letters as funny songs? Yes, absolutely. I've completed one and got others laughing at my narc exes. Yeah, it's, guys, there's no wrong way to write an FU letter. There really isn't. You could do it as a haiku. You could do it as a funny song. You could do it as a letter. You could do it as a, hi, Scotty, what are you doing? You're going to drink my water down on the floor, aren't you? Yeah. Sorry, my dog. So, there's no wrong way to do a letter like that. You do it however. Humor is a great way to deal with it. And though I would strongly suggest that, yes, you did the funny one, but maybe you need to do a serious one too, because sometimes we use humor to distance ourselves from the emotions. So really, when I encourage people to do those go pound sand letters, it's so that they can access their emotions that were not okay to access. So with abusers, it's often not okay for us to get angry. Don't you get angry at me? I'll give you a reason to be angry. That whole thing. Or it's not okay to be sad. I'll give you a reason to be sad. Emotions are not okay with abusers because they can't handle them. So when I encourage people to do the screw you letters, it's basically to access whatever emotions that were not okay. Maybe it was humor that wasn't okay. That's okay. But I want to make sure that you cover all of the emotions. Cover all of the emotions. Are you doing the humor to avoid sadness, or are you doing the humor because humor wasn't allowed? That's another possibility. So, but that's okay. If it's funny, great. Do it again as a serious one. Allow yourself to get angry. Play with it. Play with your emotions. Play with it. It's like play with getting angry. Play with getting sad. play with whatever may come up. I think the humor is great because I like to laugh. So, but, play with it. Do one that's funny, do one that's serious, do one that's sad, do one that's, whatever. Play with it. Explore. All right, my loves, I'm going to cut it off at that. You guys have a great week. So this week on Sunday, we are going to be talking about assertiveness. We are going to be talking about the power of the word no. And we're going to be talking about how to deal with your everyday narcissists, because you're going to find them everywhere. They're in every profession. Trust me on that one. So we're going to talk about that. So, all right, you guys have a great week, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye.